Hey there, beautiful souls. I'm Colynn Lockoff.
And I'm Meridee Lockoff.
And welcome to Spiritual Sisters with Sass, the podcast where two sisters with a passion for spirituality and a touch of sass come together to explore the exciting world of self-improvement.
That's right, Colynn. We embarked on this incredible journey together, diving into different self-improvement techniques, yoga practices, and a whole array of life experiences.
Yeah, and through it all, we've managed to create lives that are abundant, happy, and constantly evolving. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it, Meridee?
You bet, sis. We've got two very different perspectives on life, but that's what makes this podcast so special. I'm all about diving in head first into life's adventures and embracing every challenge with a bit of sass. While Colynn here, she's got her own unique approach.
Yep, that's me. And I'm all about the yoga, mindfulness, and finding my zen. And together we make the perfect balance.
So whether you're looking for some wisdom, a few laughs, or just some heartfelt stories, you're in the right place. We're here to share our personal experiences and insights with you, all while exploring the wild and diverse world of self-improvement.
So grab your headphones and get ready for a fantastic journey with us. Spiritual Sisters with Sass is here to uplift, inspire, and keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in, lovely listeners. Let's dive in.
Spirit and sass. Here we go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Spiritual Sisters with Sass podcast. It's my birthday, just saying. By the time you guys see this, my birthday will have been gone for 2 weeks, but today is my birthday.
Yeah.
And today we're going to do a follow-up on last week as well, and just touch base, and then we're going to talk about how we're moving through certain things, because we're both going through some things right now, and how that's going. So let's get started. So first of all, everyone wanted to know, well, Lynn wanted to know, nobody else really cared. So Lynn was curious about what decision I was going to make about buying a modular home for my children to live in and all the things. And I have decided to move forward with it. I am not, in my opinion, I am not adding more to my plate, because we literally went and spent an hour, picked out the colors, did all the things, and now I do nothing until December when it arrives, except, of course, give them some money. But then I sat with that because I was feeling heavy. It's been a week of me not feeling quite like myself. And I all of a sudden was like, this is strange for me. Maybe it really is the trailer. Maybe this is what's hitting me. And then I was like, no, because really, one of the things that I'm meditating on, and my night meditation, is act as if. Okay. And that's a major thing within our law of attraction rules and all the things. One of the things that came to me is that is me acting as if I'm doing a cash deal on this. All of the things. My plan is to pay my dad back in full before the year is up, all of the things. And he's only giving me a portion of this house. So I maybe it really is this. And I sat with that, and all of a sudden it hit me. No, you are grieving the loss of something that you had in your head. So if you guys follow us, you know that we talked about me seeing someone, and it was an ex and all the things. And all of a sudden, it kind of came to an end. And then I went, it was I need to work on myself on his side. And I was like, that's cool, please do. Then it rolled into this, I need to really work on myself. You're a really great distraction. And I was like, fair. Okay, you go work on yourself. I took some time to mull my feelings over, and then kind of messaged him and said, you know what? I think you're amazing. And I think that we could have something amazing. So not that I'm waiting, but let me know when you're healed. And then I realized I was waiting. And then I basically was putting, telling the universe, don't bring me the perfect person, because I'm going to wait for the wrong one. Being super vulnerable, I exposed myself and left myself open to him. And in some ways, I feel like I was taken advantage of. My own fault, because if that's the case, I allowed that to happen. So within that, this last week, I had made a decision. I wasn't waiting anymore and that I'm going to let it go. And in letting it go, that means letting it go and grieving the loss of it. Now, grieving the loss of something that wasn't really anything, if you went from his view, probably. But in my view, what if he's the one? What if this is the right relationship? Imagine what we could build together, all of the things. I am a girl. So I do have the thoughts. I don't know that I know many girls that like start dating someone and don't have all those thoughts. But I will tell you that for sure, I was having those thoughts. I was having the like, oh, this could be so great. Oh my God, the place we could go together, like all of it. And now I'm grieving that loss, which is why I haven't felt like myself. When I realized that and acknowledged that, it was a game changer for me as well. I'm already starting to feel better about things in my life, moving through it, all of it. And seeing that the trailer had nothing to do with it for me. It's not, it's me living as if I'm already there, as if I've already got the money because I need to pay it back. So there is that piece. Now, was it Sunday that I called you? I think it was Sunday. I called Lynn and I was like, I need to work through some shit. I need some help. And she was like, okay, fair. And what it was, I said immediately, I always have to start with, can you tell me if I'm coming from ego? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because yesterday, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday that I called Lynn and was like, I figured out why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And when I told her, she was like, are you fucking serious right now? And I was like, what? She's like, I've been saying this all week. And I'm like, what? You have? So literally someone could even, her words were not direct. Her words were, I think you're avoiding something. It took me a bit to get there, and someone can outright tell you right down to the T. She could have literally said, this is what is happening. And I would not have heard those words whatsoever until I was ready to hear those words, or until I could consciously come to that conclusion. So this is where that, like, you can't teach someone anything. They need to learn it themselves, even if you give them the tools. And so I came to that conclusion. But on Sunday, I had to call and say, hey, am I coming from ego? And she responded immediately before we even really got into it and said, if someone is coming at you with ego, then you're coming from ego. And I was like, oh, shit. All right, then. So I'm coming from ego. And she's like, and I've seen it for the last few days. So what's going on with you? And I can actually pinpoint the moment that it happened. We're not going to get into that right now. Actually, you know what? Yeah, well, let's do it because it's so icky and vulnerable for me. We may as well do it. The moment that it happened, oh, so icky. The moment it happened was I walked into the trailer place to make a cash deal. Okay. With essentially $200,000 in my bank to be able to spend on this with my Louis Vuitton bag, and the way the guy looked at me, I just instantly went into that ego. Did not acknowledge it. Did not see it. I saw it, but I didn't see it. My subconscious didn't see it, or maybe it did. I didn't want to acknowledge it, and then sat in ego, because not even I'm better than anyone, none of that stuff. But that's that situation, being able to walk into a place and pay $200,000 for a trailer out of my bank as a cash deal. I'll bring you a money order, is where I want to be. That being said, who that became is not who I want to be when I have that. So this was a really big lesson for me, and I'm so grateful that I got to have it. So grateful.
So hold on.
Yes.
Stop there.
Okay.
Because are you open?
Of course I am.
Because we need to fucking address the trailer deal in general.
Okay.
Okay? The decision to get the trailer comes from ego. No matter what you say to me, because this is the defensive part of your ego, not accepting that this is an ego decision, which, as I already mentioned, is not wrong. Whatever we do is always right.
Yeah.
And it is a step towards your goal of owning real estate. So you're putting more on your plate. It came up right when things were happening in a breakup. The diversion from the emotions was the trailer.
I think the diversion from the emotions happened before the trailer. I think the trailer just was an easy place to continue diverting.
Yes.
Because the
And
emotional, like in this, if I'm looking at it now and as you're saying that, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. The diversion of my emotions started when he was not checked into what we were doing. And I basically like gaslit myself into believing he would come around in so many ways.
right.
Because part of it, and let's be real here, part of it is that all I want is to fall back in love. All I want is to be loved, but not just to be loved. I want to be loved the right way.
Right.
I want to have someone who's as obsessed with me as I am with them. I'm not looking for someone to just be obsessed with me. I want to be in this together. I want to have our energies meet. So that was not the case. He was not meeting my needs. And I kept putting that off to the work he needed to do, which it's not untrue. But why am I willing to have somebody in my life who's not really willing to give me what I deserve and what I need? So I think during the entire process, I was kind of putting my feelings off about how I was truly feeling because he'll come around because of who he used to be. Only who he used to be 15 years ago is not who he is today because, hello, I'm not sure if I've said it, but he even said to me multiple times, you are not at all who you used to be. And I'm very aware that I'm not. So why I would think that he was, not sure. Okay. So maybe gaslighting myself a little bit in that.
Yeah.
And these are the things that our ego does to protect us.
And then gaslighting yourself right now on you're not putting anything else on your plate. Listen, you're one of the strongest people I fucking know, and you can handle a lot. But denying that buying a fucking trailer and then now managing as a landlord is not putting more on your plate because you don't need to do anything more until this time and that time is you gaslighting yourself even more. This is all coming for, and it's so perfect. And it's helping you to get to where you want to go. So again, it's not wrong. It's still coming from ego so that you can go deeper. You're putting more on your plate. Period. Stop saying
I'm
you're not.
so used to having a lot on my plate
Yes.
and I've actually noticed this as well. This was sort of a conversation I had yesterday. It's like, for example, like when I go through a tough day, we don't post those things. We don't share those things with people. I get messages from people saying things like, do you ever have a bad day? Like, for the most part, I'm going to go ahead and admit that I have pretty great days for the most part, but I also do have moments where I go through it. It's been a week and it's been icky for me. And yes, I'm going through it. But to get the messages saying like, do you ever have a bad day? Is there ever anything going on in your life that's not perfect? Yeah, there is. However, Lindsay actually pointed out yesterday, she was like, you know what? I would love to see you say like, hey, I'm struggling with the fact that I'm hormonal because I'm a woman. And if I don't take care of myself and do my own hormone treatments with laser quit, that I get a little bit crazier. She's like, I was like, but that's just normal. And she's like, but that's what you need to post. And I was like, oh shit. So I have encouraged our followers and my followers saying, if you guys want to see how vulnerable I do get, you might not see it on social. You're going to see it in our podcast.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to see me like dig deep into myself. So I'm so used to being the strong person that like, it's just part of what I do. And it's just part of what I go through that I don't feel the need to share it. Not realizing, in fact, most people actually need those parts. They need to see that like, hey, look, even Meridee's going through it. For me, it just feels very normal.
I just got off the mastermind sharing this because right now in Modern Yoga Teacher and promoting, I'm checking out the other yoga business coaches. And one in particular is funny if she even listens to this, probably not, but let's just say she has more recently purchased a place in Bali. Her like reels are about, I took 4 months off and never lost my income, and I just bought the house of my dreams in Bali and I still made money, and I was a millionaire at this age. Okay. you're fucking struggling. You're making $0. How can you relate to someone like that?
This is what my coach just said.
What if you're like, fuck, dude? Like the post I did the other day was like, I'm not a millionaire and I'm not an overnight success, but I have had $250,000 years. Sure, that is, I mean, even at zero, 250 sounds a lot, but I'm not all like 7 figures, bitch.
Well, and not just that, but if I'm sitting here and you're living here, it feels like such a big gap that I don't even want to listen to you anymore. Because there's too much of a gap and I don't know how I would ever get there. And this is the part that has really surfaced for me in the past few weeks of like exposing my vulnerability is I'm like, I'm vulnerable. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. But in so many ways, no, we don't put that shit out there.
Right.
And I need to start putting it back out there in the ways that I also am where you are. Just because I'm where I am doesn't mean I don't also come from where you are. I've experienced what you've experienced, which is how I've gotten to where I am today.
Right.
So moving through that, and then not just that, but another conversation we've been having is how growth is not linear. So, you know, like the growth that I've had and certain relationships I have in my life, you know, like sometimes we're like this, sometimes we're like this, sometimes we're moving in between both. Are you outgrowing someone or are you just in another growth phase?
Right. So just for our listeners, right? Am I like this? Am I like this? Well, one of the ideas is bringing both the hands together, and it's not like we are parallel and growing up together. You know, one of us will be higher in, you know, feeling good and making money, and one might be a little bit lower. And then the one that's higher usually says like, hey, are you coming? And the other one comes like, yeah, but then like shoots past the other one. And now that one's a little bit higher. And we kind of, hey, are you coming? Yeah, I am. And sometimes it's like, no, I'm not. And we outgrow those relationships. And maybe they come back again, just like you've experienced in partnership.
Yeah.
Someone that you thought actually outgrew you came back around. And I was like, oh, wait, dude, hold on. I don't even think this, you know, you said you're winding up and ready to take on the world, and this person's thinking about retiring.
Yeah.
That's not where you're at all. You want to fucking travel. You want to see the world. I mean, we're young. What is retirement? Fuck that.
And when I hear that, I often say to people, like, I actually don't know if I'm ever actually going to retire because I love laser quit so much.
We send each other memes of us like traveling, you know, this is us when we're 80 and we're on a beach somewhere, fucking old as fuck, but we're still probably on social media running this goddamn podcast.
Yep. 100%.
Right?
Agreed. Yeah. And so within that, like, not, and one of the things that keeps coming up in certain conversations is, well, how much do I put up with? Well,
what are you tolerating?
I feel like, yes. Now, what are you actually tolerating? Is it toxic? Because if it's not toxic, then it's a matter of being in growth. You guys are exchanging your growth. What do I put up with? Well, if you're asking, what do I put up with? Are you coming from love? This is the biggest thing that, like, when I called you, that was, you were like, if you're not coming from love, then you're definitely coming from ego. And I was just like, fuck you. Oh, there she is. Oh, there she is. You know, like, instead of, oh, I see that you're hurting and that's why you sent me this message. Well, fuck you then. Okay, coming from ego. If I instead saw, oh, I see how much you're hurting, so let's have a fucking conversation about this, then I'm coming from love. Right? So if you're coming from love and it still feels toxic to you, then maybe you shouldn't be tolerating. Maybe it should be time for you to walk away. But if you're just experiencing something, then maybe you need to look at where you're coming from, right? And where are you taking responsibility? Because that's a huge one in this. Stop fucking pointing fingers at everyone around you. There's 3 pointing back at you, and you need to take responsibility.
Right.
And literally why I call Lynn is so that I can get my check-in with myself. I knew something wasn't right. I knew I was operating out of ego, because if you're in flow, you're not operating out of ego. And if you're not having a good time, you're not in your divine. So the fuck, Meridee. But I needed a check-in. And then you checked me in enough that I could then sit and look at myself and move through things faster and where I'm at now.
Right.
And I feel 75, 80% better than I did prior.
Right.
I know where I'm operating out of ego. I'm able to see, hey, it's time to operate out of love right now, which allows me to slide back into flow, which allows me to slide back into my divine. Did you watch the video? Our coach put out a video the other day.
No.
You did not watch it?
No.
Okay, so I don't know if he does it for your guys' group or not, but in my group, every Monday, he usually puts out a video. And the video is just like a 12-minute rant about how he's feeling or what he's experienced. So
Maybe
this weekend,
he does do that. I'll have to look.
Okay, and it's in Slack and he just posts it. I don't know if you guys are in the same Slack group as us or not. Like, I don't know. So he literally had this post, and he talks about like the Matrix and how the first movie and the fourth movie are the most like aligned with reality and what we're going through. And I just was like, oh my God, I feel that on so many levels. And he was talking about literally living in your divinity versus living in your condition. Your ego and your condition are your ego lives within the condition. And if you're living in ego, all you're trying to do is protect yourself. And so he talks about how being in the matrix of this world is the conditioning. And then he talks about, now on Monday, you're going to be so excited because on Monday he's doing another call. I think it's Monday. He's doing another call on basically like the matrix, living in your divinity, being under conditioning, all of these things. And so yesterday he kind of got into it in our support call around like, if you're not feeling like you're in flow, then you're in ego, and now it's something to look at. And I was like, I would love to see the how-to of this. But isn't that always how we go about things? I need to know the how-to, and yet you don't. You just need to make a plan.
Right. Okay, this is coming so perfectly. Honestly, I mean, for anyone that's listening, you're going to really have to listen because I do want to share my screen because I've been doing a lot. I was introduced to it by our coach, the David Hawkins, actually not by our coach, by the woman I took you to see when you came here.
And I had seen it, and I had seen it prior to going there, but she has it sitting right there. And I thought, wow, that's sitting there.
And it's the frequency of our like energy, basically. And so I get introduced to this. I watch a video. I watch a couple videos, and then I get told about a book. So then I read the book, David Hawkins. I think it was called Letting Go. I thought that was perfect based on what had gone on. So I started listening to the book, and each time, right, my consciousness is expanding, my knowledge is expanding around this understanding. And so then I'm like, I need to put this in my program. So I then it's funny because I was supposed to do it like last month, and I've literally been, all this other shit has gotten in the way, and I haven't been able to create the presentation. So I'm like, God, I got to get this done because now my mastermind's caught up to me and I need to put out more videos. So I then rewatch these videos and I go back, and then all week, last week and this week, I have been coaching on it because I'm seeing it right in front of me, but I'm also going through it, and so are you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, thank you. So no wonder it had to wait till now, because now I have a deeper understanding. About a month ago, I ran everybody through the homework for the frequencies presentation is to sit with each frequency, come up with a story and a memory so you can feel it. I thought we did this so that we could come to a place of always being in joy, peace, and enlightenment. And all we have to do is think about it, and then we'll attract that in. That was what I was getting from all of this. Okay. And then I started creating this, and then I started, I started teaching, and that's how I learn.
Yeah, me too.
And I was like, wait, what the fuck? And then everybody that I'm talking to, I'm like, oh my God, they're in guilt, they're in shame. So I'm going to share. And basically, this is You
I'm
can,
excited for this
you
because
can come,
it's so, let's talk about how I've been moving through this exact thing
right.
these last few
Yes.
weeks or
Yes.
last week.
So you can go on our YouTube to watch this, or our Facebook or whatever that looks like.
Or even just when you get a chance,
yeah,
go look up the David Hawking's
right.
frequencies so that you can look through them. But she's going to explain them anyways.
Yes.
Even though we can see it, it doesn't matter. She's going to put it into words. So
yeah,
don't stress.
totally. So the chart that I have that you can also Google and look up is called Elevating Consciousness and Human Potential. Okay. So it shares the consciousness level, the energy or the emotions, and the frequency level that they operate at. And then on the other side is like kind of what we experience as humans. So what?
Okay, there she is. We're back.
Okay. So what kind of came up was this idea of like, first and foremost, people saying I'm not an angry person. Well, if you're not an angry person, then you're not anything, not any of the feelings, and therefore you're stuck. And where you're stuck is in ego. So you're stuck in lower level emotions or frequencies or energies, however you want to call it, right? So
The ones that cause inaction.
yes. So in order for us to kind of like break out, that we need to recognize where we are and then start to move past it.
Yes.
So these lower level kind of emotion energies are shame, guilt, apathy, fear, and grief. When we look at this on the consciousness level, they're low frequencies. When we look at what we experience when we're in the low frequency, which also relates to the lower chakras, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
What we experience in our human bodies is inaction. So we stay in a cycle of inaction. We come to a ceiling of fear, right? Okay, so what happened was Meridee's in a relationship. I'm just going to use it as an example, okay? Mm-hmm. And she wants to find love. And she thinks she's found it. Great. This is it. She's fantasizing about it. And like you said, like this is just what we do. Yeah. This is how you would move forward with someone. It's not like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit. No, you're like, oh, is this the one? Could we be together?
You start, planning your future, right. Even.
So you
called manifestation.
You went there and it started to not work out. So immediately, now all of these emotions are tools. But in order for them to be tools, we need to unlearn the construct of emotions. Right now, in human consciousness, most people feel they are their emotions. They identify, I am happy, I am sad. No, you're not. How can you be sadness? How can you be happiness? You're not those. Those are emotions that your body is having and you are not your body. Mm-hmm. Right? So what happened was, boom, there's this moment of, oh shit. So something happens and now you have the opportunity to move through this and learn and grow or stay in emotion. So that's ego, lower level emotions, lower frequency ego. And we need to be there. Ego's there for a reason, to help us and guide us and save us. Yes. And we're fucking adults that are spiritual beings that don't need to stay there for long. Yes. So let's say something bad happens. Okay. You were dreaming of something and it didn't happen. Boom, embarrassment, shame. You want to hide. What the fuck was I thinking? Yeah. Right? Yep. Now we move up to guilt. Guilt. Fuck. What was I thinking? Maybe I should have thought different. Why would I do that? This guy, blah, 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 da, da, right? There's the guilt. So then next is apathy, which isn't a lot. There's not a lot of feeling and apathy. It's apathy, right? Yeah. And then from there, what did you say you're going through? You're going through grief. Grief. Yep. Holy shit. I had dreams about this person and our relationship. And now I have to grieve the fact that first and foremost, I probably didn't even grieve the fact that we broke up 15 years ago. Yep. Wow. There's a lot of grief and emotion to move through. And then what happens immediately, and you've probably already hit it, I'm not going to find anybody. Yep. Very quick for me, but yes. right?
Well, now
So
I'm
fear,
going to be
okay,
single forever because the person that I thought was
right,
not going to is not the person,
right?
which then leads.
But this is where lots of people stay. Inaction. Shit, I might as well not ever go out on a dating app or talk to anyone again because everybody lets me down. And
Yep.
then back to shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear. This is where most people stay and they don't move on.
And this is where you don't grow. Okay.
Right.
Nothing grows here.
It's the dead zone.
It literally is.
Yeah. It's called your comfort zone.
Yeah. Even
So
though it
then,
doesn't feel good, it's comfortable,
right.
which is why you stay there.
Yes. So often we have a ceiling of fear, which is exactly what is on the elevating consciousness and human potential. So most people stay in inaction and they don't change their lives. What happens is, you gain weight, you gain unhappiness, you get jaded, like blah, 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 blah. You can do this in your business, your relationship, your anything.
And now you can see these emotions. If you're aware and conscious and pay attention, you can see you can move through them quickly or you can move through them slowly. For me, fear was a quick one. Fear, I was like, okay, and it led me into my next one. But
Right.
that fear can put you back into shame. So you get to choose how you move through these emotions.
Because they're tools. They're
Yes.
not your fucking identity. Yeah,
Yes.
99% of human consciousness right now is misidentifying as their emotions.
Yes.
So the next thing that can happen is a desire. I want to have a partner. Meridee was in fear for a long time around relationship until I would say around when we started our podcast, a little bit before when she started to desire a partner.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So now, I mean, she can stay in fear or she can be like, well, no, I want the one. And that's desire, which will then bring her to anger, which I think she's feeling.
We've talked about where
Like,
I feel
fuck you,
like I've been
dude.
taken advantage
You're
of.
taking advantage of me. What the fuck? But we need anger as a fire to get us moving. Fuck you, dude. And then from that, I know you're already feeling it, is a place of pride. You know what? That's right. Fuck that. I'm not lowering my standards. That was taking advantage of me. I'm not a piece of shit. And I'm really glad that I'm standing up for myself, which then brings about courage. Now, if we stop desire, anger, and pride, what goes with those? Hyperactivity. Right now,
Guess what I've been doing? Let's talk about what I've been doing. Because what I've been doing during desire, anger, and pride is working more.
Yes.
To avoid the feeling, to try and make something more happen, all of the things. Okay. I have been busy.
Doing
Buying
more
a trailer.
social media. Fucking being
All
there
of the
for other
things.
people. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And we could get stuck there and then fucking pissed off when it doesn't work out and fall back into the lower emotions. These are still lower emotions, peeps, but they're a way to get out of
They're
inactivity.
activity emotions. You go from inactivity to activity.
Yes.
This is where we can propel ourselves forward into happiness or backward back into the shame and inaction. So
now,
for me, I'm moving forward.
Yes. From pride is courage. You know what? I'm not giving up. I can do this. Right? There is somebody out there for me. I know it because if I stay here waiting, the universe is going to deliver me what I'm fucking waiting for, which is not what I want.
Yeah.
Courage. I am going to keep my heart open.
Yeah.
Which then moves to neutrality, starting to see like, oh, damn, at the same time, that person is fucking hurting.
Yes. And that's
they didn't
definitely
use me like purposefully. They don't even know that they fucking took advantage of me because they're not an asshole. They're just stuck in their own shit. Neutrality.
Yes.
Right? Then we move to willingness. And if we look at what we experience in those times, that's happiness and productivity. That's what people,
and for
what
me,
do
the
people
willingness.
want? People want happiness.
Yes. And the willingness is willingness to accept the happiness that you're looking for.
And guess what you get out of?
I'm willing to risk myself getting hurt again because I know what could be out there. And if I stay stuck on the thing that's not for me, the universe is never going to, it could even put Mr. Right in front of me, but I'm blocked off to him because I'm holding on to what's wrong. So now I'm willing to expose myself again. I'm willing to allow myself to go down this road.
And guess what you're fucking out of? You're out of ego. You're out of your lower emotions because now you're at like 200 because courage really is the kicker to happiness and productivity to keep moving up. Then we've got, just to finish up, like acceptance.
Yes.
And we've got love or reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment.
Can we talk for a second about what you said to me about how you thought that like all of these, say what you said to me about the top ones, which are the love, joy, peace, and enlightenment.
About how I thought like we're just supposed to hit on those all the time so we can be in them all the time.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful part, because what's actually happening is if you went to a place of, okay, I'm just gonna, which is kind of where you were going, I'm just gonna fill my plate and bypass all my emotions and everything will be fine. We're actually in ego and we're down fucking here
again.
So this has been like, holy shit. The other day I was talking to a client and I was talking to her and her husband, and it's about a kid and like moving out. And I could see how he was in anger, right? So he was like doing a bunch of shit and putting on restrictions and doing this and doing that. And she was like, I can't believe we're hiding out doing this. And I'm like, wow, it was so awesome because I was like, hold on. And I brought this up and I was like, listen, babe, you're in guilt and shame. You got to keep moving through this, or this is where you're going to stay, and you're not going to like help her to create her own life. And I also said to him, you need to keep going because right now you're fucking hyperactive. You got all these emotions. You don't know what to do with them. So you're just fucking shitting on her. Right? We do not stop. We got to keep going, because if everybody wants happiness, they need to move through the unhappiness to get there.
Yes.
Right?
And that's one thing that I will always be willing to do, is work through it. And that's the thing that makes this so beautiful, and also where I'm going to expose the highest, my biggest vulnerabilities, because in this, I have to experience all these feelings. So I sat in guilt and shame, not even necessarily recognizing it.
Right.
And it's not until you start to move through it that you're like, oh, look at that. That's where I was.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I can move into the next level.
Yes.
And that's why I'm also feeling better, is because I'm moving up the frequencies. Now you can't falsify moving up your fucking frequencies either. Let's just go there, because no matter how hard I try, I can't pretend to be courageous when I'm really fucking pissed off.
Right.
I can't pretend to be willing when in fact I'm still stuck in fear.
Right.
That's not going to work. I'm going to get nowhere.
Right. This is why anger is a really great tool to kind of like get us out of it.
And anger literally to me feels kind of like a catalyst, because as soon as I started to feel that frustration, that irritation to, wow, wait a second, I've been taken advantage of. Then I was able to propel faster through all of it. But then there's that place where I had to, yes, my anger's there, but now I need to come to an acknowledgement that where's my personal responsibility in this anger, because that's what allows me to move to the next level. It's not, I'm mad, so I'm going to move to the next level. It's, I'm angry. Where can I take responsibility, which allows me to move forward? So I allowed someone to take advantage of me by putting myself out there in these ways. I gaslit myself. I did this to me. He doesn't even know it, which is where I'm hitting another level. Now I'm aware that you didn't even know he probably still has no idea that he did it. He probably has no idea. And this is so funny too, because literally even like, you taught your kids well when they do shit like this, but I'm talking to my daughter about being sad. And she's like, well, why are you sad? And I was like, well, I'm just feeling like, like in so many ways, I'm not getting the attention. And she's like, and how is that his responsibility? And I was like, shut the fuck up. You're right. And I was like, and I know this, like, he has no idea that I'm frustrated. He has no idea that I had these expectations that were none of his fucking business.
Right.
I told him, I'm not waiting for you. I'm just not on the hunt. okay, so now I've just put expectations on you. You don't even fucking know about. Now I'm mad at you because you didn't meet my expectations that, oh, I put on you and you don't even fucking know about. So that's literally how I feel. I feel like I can take a breath. I feel like, yeah, it's my birthday, but that's not why I'm feeling better. I'm feeling
Right.
better because I'm moving through all of these frequencies, through these emotions, through these things. No, they're not who I am. They're not controlling, but they do put you into a place. And if you just pretend and make them go away, they won't,
Right.
they're going to surface later. So I needed to actually learn the lessons that are attached to all of these frequencies and sensations and things, which is why they're here. I was
I'm
in flow. I was feeling so amazing. Amazing. Oh my God. And yes, DMT contributed to that. And yes, all of the things, but also gotta feel the feels. Stop avoiding.
I want to mention that, the yesterday, 2 days ago, I had a conversation with someone. It turned into a sales call. It wasn't like, that wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was more about like joining a teacher training. And then all of a sudden it was like part of the mastermind. And then she's like a yes, she's going to do it. And then I didn't like take the credit card number right then and there. Okay, so we all know what happens when we don't like.
Ego needs to protect you. I'm gonna run away. She
Right.
doesn't have my money yet.
And, she also, then she came up with the reasons why she can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And that is what it is. And it's all amazing. It's so great. Lots of lessons, all the things. But just that little thing in my business, I still need to move through all that happened because now my mind, my energy leak is on that. And what I came up with immediately was like, Colynn, you know better, take the credit card. I've been in a place where I haven't been selling for so long that when people do come to me, they just give me their credit card, or if they say I'm going to pay the invoice, they do. So I haven't been like, okay, great. Do you want to put a deposit down? It's like, no, the person's like, hey, can you just charge my credit card, please? I'm like, yeah. Like that's where I've been for so long that coming back into sales for the mastermind has really reawoken some spiritual awakening for me. So I went through this in yesterday. Because immediately, what was it? It was shame. I'm such a fucking idiot. I didn't do it right. And then guilt, like, wow. And then I went, apathy and then grief, like, fuck, I lost a sale. And it's not just that. This person is not a sale to me. Okay. So I don't want anyone to get
I'm missing
stuck.
out on an opportunity to help someone.
Right. Because
Yeah.
I have a goal of 20,000 yoga teachers to support them in fucking making money and a good living. Right. So I was like, fuck. And I know with what she's going through, I can help her. And so I'm just like, fuck, if you would just listen and do it. Anyway, so then I went through all this yesterday and I didn't realize it, but then I did. Because where'd I go? I went to, I should just give up. This is stupid. What am I thinking? And then I went to desire. No, I want to do this. And then I went to anger, like, fuck. No, I'm not. You know what? I need to be clear on who my ideal client is so that I'm calling in the right person. Right. And then I went to pride, like, fuck yeah, I went through that. Holy shit, look at I'm going through it. And then, now I've been going back up the scale. So I'm just bringing this up because maybe you think like losing a sale isn't a big deal, but are you bypassing?
Yes.
Because that was just a little thing. And it didn't even when our call started,
It wasn't a blip in our radar.
Right.
Except that it really does have an effect.
So a fight with a partner or, or a whatever, like all the things that are going on that don't go the way we want to is an opportunity to fall back into ego. But we need to move through it so that we can move back to our higher selves and what it is that we're really here for.
And there's a reason, there's a frequency. We're supposed to go up, we're supposed to go down, we're supposed to grow, we're supposed to suffer. If you're always in good, you're never going to learn. And we've talked about this so many times. Contrast. We need to experience guilt and shame to be able to get to enlightenment.
Right.
Because how else do you do it?
Yeah.
So it's just it's not a beautiful place to feel, but it is a beautiful place to be because guess what? You get to choose to continue to go up.
Right. Again, tools. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I feel
Me
complete.
too. I feel like even if this was a short one, this is such a perfect place for us to stop.
I think so too.
Because just wow.
Yeah. Sweet.
So thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah.
On my birthday. That's
Okay.
my birthday.
Thanks for showing up on your birthday
That's my
and
birthday.
for continuing to do your work and be vulnerable and open and coachable and all the fucking things, dude.
Same.
Okay.
Same.
All right. I'm going to say goodbye to our podcast. Thank you for joining us on this spirited journey today.
We hope you enjoyed diving into the world of self-improvement with us. Two sisters who found their own unique paths.
Remember, life is a tapestry of experiences, and it's how we embrace them that makes all the difference.
So whether you're on your yoga mat, exploring mindfulness, or simply navigating life's twists and turns, always keep that spirit and sass alive.
We are Colynn and Meridee Lockoff, and we're here to remind you that happiness and abundance are within reach.
Stay connected with us on social media and keep those questions and stories coming. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, beautiful souls, keep doing the work, keep sharing your experiences, and keep living a life that's authentically you.
And never forget to add a little extra sass to your day.
Spirit and sass, always.